excuse me. Hey, good morning this morning on an absolutely beautiful, and I don't mean kind of, sort of, maybe beautiful. I mean knock down, drag out, a little bit stormy, but beautiful Wednesday. All right, I've had enough. The appearance of fairness. We all want the appearance of fairness, don't we? We want the appearance of fairness in our sporting event. And frankly, Iowa against LSU women, it did not appear to be the appearance of fairness because the referees were so bad, but it didn't really affect the outcome. All we ask for in this world, in our country, is fairness, even the appearance of fairness. That's it. We understand we're so divided, black, white, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, all that kind of. But can we just get the appearance of fairness? Don't insult us by being so ridiculous that people like me, who are really in the center on most things and trying to think things through common sense-wise, get fed up. And I'm fed up. I'm watching these charges against Donald Trump. Look, I'll tell you this. I think Donald Trump in his personal life is probably a dirtbag. I thought he was a terrific president because he did the things to protect America. And you've seen what happens when we go completely outside of protecting America. The dollar's no good. Saudi Arabia says they're not paying attention to us. China and Russia are meeting. I mean, it's a catastrophe what is happening outside of our country. But inside of our country, can we just get the appearance of fairness? Look, I don't know whether or not Donald Trump's 34 felonies rises to the level that it's being prosecuted. Alvin Bragg, the DA, says he has information that other DAs have not had. All right, if that's true, God bless you. Yay, rah, go fight, win. But this is about a $132,000 payment to a stripper through a lawyer, then paid back. And of course, then it becomes, well, you're influencing the election by paying hush money. You're damn right. He doesn't want hush money paid. Then, of course, it involves the National Enquirer because, well, frankly, David Pecker, great name for a guy that's the CEO of the National Enquirer, met with Trump and Michael Cohen, who is at the center of this. Michael Cohen was Trump's fixer. Michael Cohen was Trump's lawyer. And somehow Michael Cohen has now turned this into 34 indictments against Trump. Not only indictments, charges that he yesterday pled not guilty to. That's fine. If he did these things and they're so awful that they rise to this, then put the man in jail. Fine. Do whatever you need to do. But at least give the appearance of fairness. Honest to God, Hillary Clinton, 330,000 emails smashed, deleted. In violation of federal election laws, nothing done. Paula Jones paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for stooping Bill Clinton. Nothing done. Donald Trump, Mar-a-Lago raided to find documents. Guess what? Same thing. Documents in the Biden household. Nothing done. Zero zip. You've got Epstein's Island, which, hey, look, I don't know if it's only Democrats, but if you're going to ask me, it sure seems like it's only Democrats. Why? Because we don't have a list of the people that, ladies and gentlemen, went to Epstein's Island. Why? Because James Comey's daughter's the prosecutor. James Comey doesn't like trying to protect people, and next thing you know, documents are sealed. Just be fair with us. That's all I'm saying. Just be fair with us. You want to put Donald Trump in jail on 34 counts, then put his ass in jail. But don't blank everybody in the United States off. I was watching focus groups. You got Democrats saying, yeah, you know what? This is crap. Yeah, you know what? This is unfair. People are sitting, and you know what's even worse? And this is where it gets dangerous. I've always said this. I said, you're going to see at some point, I don't know if it's going to be a civil war. I don't know if it's going to be a race war. I don't know if it's going to be a war up against the government. But you're seeing people incredibly frustrated on both sides of the aisle, on both races. People are frustrated. How about a little bit of fairness here? How about a little bit of, wait a second, let's not selectively persecute or prosecute because you are in power. That's all people want. We want fairness in our sports. We want fairness in our lives. We want fairness in our dealings with our spouse. We want fairness in our dealings with what we buy, what we sell, how we go about our day. And you buy a car, you want fair. I want fair pricing. How many times do you hear that? Fair pricing. All right? That's all we ask. And there is not a human being alive. I don't care if you are so far on the left or you are so far on the right that you can't see straight, but there isn't a human being alive that can sit there and say, well, this is very fair. Juanita Broderick, you know that name? Raped. I got to get her on the show. She was raped by Bill Clinton. And nobody's denying it. No prosecution. Hillary threatened Juanita Broderick. Find out the story. Nothing done. I mean, I'm a news freak, so I'm paying attention to all of this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, all right, you got 34 charges. Donald Trump legitimately, if you look at the picture, legitimately made himself look like OJ. Swear to God. He's got his legal team. He's sitting in the third chair. It is legitimately, eerily familiar to Johnny Cochran, Kardashian's dad, OJ Simpson. It's unbelievable. There you see it right there. How good is those guys? How good are my guys? But that's all we ask. I want fairness. All right. So we've got a couple videos to show you here. Here, the first one is Donald Trump was expected to address the media upon coming into the courtroom. Here's the first one.
Election. He's taking a case that the feds said they wouldn't prosecute. Here comes the former president. Let's just listen into this.
President Trump, will you come speak to us? President Trump?
Oh, that was just wow. And he went right into the courtroom. We thought that he was going to come up to that camera, but change of plan.
Do you know how difficult that had to be for Donald Trump to walk by all those reporters on his way into court? Do you know how difficult a guy that loves the camera, loves the microphone, do you know how difficult that must have been to say, hey, I'm not saying nothing. I'm sure his lawyers pleaded and begged him not to say anything, because that is the best advice you will ever get in a legal case. You are charged, you shut up. But I have things to say. No, you shut up. I've told you this before. A sister and a brother, both of whom were prosecutors. My sister, 25 years, my brother, about 10. My sister in Bloomington, small college town. My brother, downtown Indianapolis. All right? So anyway, you get that. All right, now, though, Donald Trump decided he is going to speak later on yesterday at Mar-a-Lago. This is what Donald Trump had to say upon his return. He flew in, he flew home. Here's Donald Trump back home.
And I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it.
Well, I believe him there. Actually, I don't believe him. There's no way that any president or any governor of the state of Illinois hasn't committed a crime, or any mayor of the city of Chicago hasn't committed a crime. I mean, let's just pay attention here and let's go back through history. I guarantee you he has committed some crimes. Now, here's the deal. Paying hush money to a stripper that you had an affair with. First and foremost, I think we're losing the fact that Donald Trump having an affair with a stripper while he's married to arguably the second most beautiful woman in the world behind the lovely Lee Ross is simply ridiculous. Beneath the office of president, maybe it is exactly what the office of CEO of a major corporation should do, but that's aside. That's not part of this thing here. So $130-some thousand goes to a stripper. Michael Cohen, the president's fixer, the president's lawyer, and the head, David Pecker of the National Enquirer, are in a room, and next thing you know, they put this deal together where David Pecker says, look, not only am I not going to run stories about Donald Trump, negative stories, I am going to run stories about his opponents. I got to tell you, on the surface, that doesn't sound like a crime to me. On the surface, that sounds like a relationship to me. Hey, look, we got to shut this woman up. How do we do it? 130,000 will do it. All right, go get it done. Hey, look, man, they're killing me. They're killing me. They're absolutely killing me here, David Pecker. Can you help me? Sure, I'll help you. Now, Problem became for Trump is he tried to hide it. He put legal services on his checks. He paid it himself. He also paid Cohen $35,000 a month. Good job if you can get it, as a retainer. But it was also allegedly part of a deal. All of this is in a package that says you, Donald Trump, tried to circumvent the election by shutting up people. You, Donald Trump, falsified your business documents. That's the crux of the whole thing. That's the bottom line. So I don't know. I'm sitting there. I try to be reasonable. If I've got something back here and that I can take care of with some scratch as I'm running for president, what the hell? And it's not illegal. If I've got someone over here that I need to shut up, I shut up. Look, here's what they literally did at the Indy Star. The Indy Star did it in reverse against me last year. They not only came at me because I questioned or talked about how bad they were at their job, so they went big article, personal, followed it up with a lie. They sat in their offices and conspired to go get me. Fine. I got no problem with that. Your little feelings are hurt. We're going to go after you. That's all this is from the guy Dicker, the CEO of the National Enquirer. That's all that is. Hey, look, I'm friends with you, Trump. I will squelch this. We will put out negative articles. It's exactly what the Indy Star did to me. And where's the crime? There's no crime there. But I guess you try to make one up, and I guess you go about the business of doing what this man, Alvin Bragg, set out to do, which is to, quote, get Donald Trump. Stay tuned. It's going to be interesting. Also, ladies and gentlemen, in the be careful what you wish for, Chicago just hired a worse mayor, or at least in theory, a worse mayor than the one they just had. Brandon Johnson, a Democrat, who talks about not even needing police, who walked along, not walked along with, but figuratively walked alongside of the looters and is an incredible racist, just got, I don't know how, hired/elected in Chicago. It's going to get worse in Chicago. I'm going there this weekend. I'm wearing Kevlar. Straight Kevlar. That's it, head to toe. Kevlar. It's going to be a mess in Chicago. They just hired arguably America's worst candidate to be their mayor. God bless America. Yay, rah. Go fight, win. I got a lot to get to. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Masters Week. And Masters Week means one thing. We make money. I have a theory that I'm going to float by our golf expert, Ryan Burr. Nobody knows better than Ryan Burr this field, the PGA Tour, the Masters, and who's going to win. And Ryan's going to join us coming up in probably 6 or 7 minutes. Also, Dusty May is going to join us as we discuss the last few minutes of the dramatic Florida Atlantic San Diego State game. What a hell of a game. Dusty is going to join us. I got to tell you, I do have an interesting theory. You're going to want to hear my theory because Masters is fun because we know the holes. We know 13 and 15 are par fives. We know 16, particularly on Sunday, they put the pin down here. If you hit the slope right, you're going to get a birdie, maybe a hole in one because it's going to go to the hole. There's a bunch of cool stuff with the Masters, and it is the easiest to bet because, well, frankly, it's a smaller field. And the cream always rises to the top. All right, I got to get to something. Shannon Sharpe. Well, let's play the audio of Fox's Shannon Sharpe talking about Iowa being invited to the White House and what that means for the election. Let's play a little Shannon Sharpe here, shall we?
If she didn't know, she should have known before she opened her mouth and blurted this dumb scenario out because they played hard. Skip, everybody plays hard.
Yeah.
But you get rewarded by winning this. In 2016, it's been out for a long time, Skip. They said optics. How do things look? Does Dr. Jill Biden understand how this looks? She, white America, the losing side is white America. And she's like, you know what? Since the black, come on, Dr. Biden, you know better than this. Did you forget who helped put your husband in the White House? you're going to find out a very serious, hard lesson in 24. You'll be like a Kentucky or Duke freshman. You'll be one and done. Now, play with it if you want to. Now, you try to appeal to a certain group that don't give a you-know-what about your husband, that every chance they get, you see how popular you are? You see how popular your husband is?
Yeah.
I tell you what, he'll drop another 5% if he do this.
Shannon Sharpe works for Fox, so I got to be very careful here. But first off, she didn't invite people to the White House because they played hard. She was actually dumber than that, Jill Biden was, and we're not surprised. She invited Iowa, the women's basketball team, to the White House because it was such a great game. It wasn't a great game. LSU beat the living crap out of Iowa. She invited them to the White House because, well, frankly, Jill Biden and the rest of the Biden people don't see winning and losing except when it comes to them making money. They see, well, we're trying to buy votes. And this was a thing where they're trying to buy votes. Now, I told you this before, and I'll tell you this again, and I will not stop telling you, and this is the only place you're going to hear it. This entire game was about race. 5 white girls against 5 black girls. The black girls won the game. Angel Reese taunted the white girl. She said this was all because for girls like me, now you're seeing invited to the White House because it's a bunch of white girls being invited by a white president. You're seeing black America get mad, do all the things that people do. There's threats, there's all this kind of stuff. It is simply about race. There is nothing else involved in this game other than race, to the point where yesterday, Angel Reese, who I'm getting kind of tired of, frankly. I always get tired of athletes. I listen to them, they're great, and then I get tired of them. Frank Kaminsky, I got tired of listening to him. A kid, Jordan Bohannon, you just get tired. They go away and, but whatever. She talked about, well, we wouldn't go if Iowa was there. Good for her. She said, we'll go see the Obamas, Barack and Michelle. Great. Yay, Rod, go fight, win. Caitlin Clark, to her credit, said no. The White House is not for runners-up. Look, this entire thing is about 5 white girls playing against 5 black girls, and it's all about race. I told you that Monday. I told you exactly what this was about, period. Girls that look like me. Well, you know what? I do this show for men that look like me. No, I don't. But I get it. The modern college athlete, we got to listen to them. We got to pay attention to them. We got to hear them for, I don't know, in this case, couple years. In Frank Kaminsky's case, we had to listen to him, the kid from Wisconsin. You don't even remember who he is. The only thing you remember about Frank Kaminsky is him backing down in a fight in the NBA. Kid named Jordan Bohannon, we're getting screwed as players, blah, 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 blah. So now we got to hear from Angel Reese for a little bit, and then that'll go away. It's just the way of the world. But Shannon Sharpe threatening that black America won't vote for Joe Biden. I got to tell you, black America shouldn't vote for Joe Biden. But black America, for whatever the reason, seems, as Charles Barkley said, they keep voting Democrat and they keep being poor. That's Charles Barkley, not me. Look in your cities. You just elected a ridiculous Democrat in Chicago. He's not going to help anybody because nobody ever has. Lori Lightfoot never helped anybody. Black America should not worry about whether Iowa's little white girls, according to people, get invited to the White House. They should be worried about, hey, look, what's going on in our neighborhoods, in our cities, and how do we make this better? In fact, black America, based on what Donald Trump did for wages and jobs and respect, should vote in droves for Donald Trump. And it has nothing to do, zero, zip, zilch, to do with Jill Biden inviting Caitlin Clark and her teammate. That had nothing to do with it. I mean, if that's the crap you're worried about, I don't know what to tell you, Shannon and others. If that's going to decide your vote, I don't know what to tell you. What should decide your vote is what's actually happening in our country. That's what should decide your vote. Care less whether somebody gets invited to the White House in terms of voting. It's ridiculous that Jill Biden is that stupid. It's actually on brand for all of the Bidens and all their people. But if you're an African American, hey man, all you got to do is drive into your city. And I wouldn't vote again for a Democrat in Indianapolis. I don't care who My friend Abdul is running. I might vote for him. That's not true. But he's not really a Democrat. He's a centrist. Why would you vote for a Democrat in Chicago? Why would you want the same crap that's going on in every Democratic-run city? That's what Shannon Sharpe should focus on, not a bunch of white girls being invited to the freaking White House. I mean, damn. That's small potatoes. You're going to find out because you, what? Invited little white girls to the White House? That bothers you? All right. Good for you, man. That's where you draw the line? What? Okay, Shannon. Gee, look, that's a hard show to do. This is a hard show to do. Every day, you got to come up with something. Every day, in Shannon's case, you got to argue with Skip. It's a hard show every day. It really is. But damn, if you're gonna do the old blackmail, do it for something important. Hey, Biden, why when Trump was president, why were there more higher paying jobs for African Americans than there are now? Why? Why were schools on their way to be much better than they are now? That's the stuff you ought to at least be thinking about, not this other crap. Who goes to the White House? We're going to hold your vote. All right. You do you, man. Shohei Ohtani bowed to Ichiro. Angels, Mariners, they played Ohtani, who is the best athlete maybe in the world, non-NBA division, because I will argue today, tomorrow, the next day, the NBA has the best athletes in the world. There are no better athletes in the world than NBA athletes, and don't at me about it. Tall, long, run, jump, fast, quick. I mean, I've argued that forever. You can tell me that the little cornerback, Sauce Gardner, is a great athlete, and I'll tell you, well, Sauce Gardner is about 5'0". NBA's got the greatest athletes, and it ain't close. And Shohei Ohtani is the one guy that fits into that. He makes it a little close because Shohei Ohtani is a guy that, frankly, name it, he can do it. He can run, he can pitch, he can catch, he can throw, he can field, he can hit. So he bows to Ichiro. Let's show the picture if you can. Ichiro not messing around. How about that? You got the greatest athlete in the world bowing to the greatest hitter in the history of Japan. It's pretty good. Bowing being a sign of reverence. Not the crap that we do with the bowing to act like it where we go like this. This is reverence. You saw the caddy for Matsuyama after the Masters bow to the course. Pretty good stuff. The great Ryan Burr, nice enough to join us. Not really respecting the show, though. He comes on the show a little bit late, doesn't have a setup. He's walking around like we're supposed to be thrilled to have Ryan Burr. Respect the show, Burr.
Yeah, this was a late minute assignment at Augusta Country Club, and long story short, I'm taking a couple holes off for Don't At Me, and we're going to win some people a lot of money today because I've got a lot of inside tracks on this year's Masters, my friend.
All right, I'm going to give you one quick thing. I am taking today because is there anything to, let me put it this way, is there anything to these live golfers aren't tournament tough in this Masters? A guy like Abraham Answer, that kind of thing?
Here's my take. I mean, all these guys practice. They have the same routine they always had. The question is this. In the live golf format, does that heart rate, double D, go to a point that these guys are used to when they're playing regular PGA Tour golf? Meaning at the Players, obviously, everybody felt it. At the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Riviera with Tiger. So the question that I can't answer is, when they go to their shotgun start with the music blaring, are those guys, when they're in contention, feeling that heat? If they are, I think a few of them could be okay this week at Augusta National. If they haven't felt the heat, imagine what it's going to be like when they step onto the first tee at Augusta National. They haven't felt the heat in a year, and they're just not going to be equipped to play their best game. Nobody knows this better than you, Double D. Pressure destroys everybody. No matter what you do it a little bit worse when you're under pressure. And that includes the greatest of all time. I mean, Tiger plays worse when under pressure. Michael Jordan plays a little bit worse when under pressure. So, the real idea for my take is when that heart rate goes up, how do those guys stand up feeling that for the first time? Ed, I don't have anyone other than – go ahead.
Give me your take, because you've always said, and I rightfully so, this is the easiest tournament to handicap, correct?
Oh, yeah, by far. It's the easiest tournament to win and the easiest to handicap. Augusta National, as we know, they do everything to make sure the back nine on Sunday is dramatic and has the names. So what they do is they don't invite anyone that could win the tournament, that's good enough to win the tournament, but isn't a star. So half the field is obviously your Sandy Lyles and your Fred Couples and your VJ Singhs. Okay, Bernhard Langer. We can cross them off. And then they invite more amateurs, because that's the thing now. You invite amateurs from all over the world because you're growing the game. And none of them obviously have a prayer to win. So really what it comes down to, this tournament more than anything else, it is so easy to handicap. Like, you can guarantee that if you gave me 11 picks, I would have 5 guys in the top 10 and the winner. Guarantee. And that's not me being a great handicapper of golf. It's just the Masters is that easy to pick.
Who do you like?
So I do like Jon Rahm. And don't at me with I'm taking the number 2 player in the world. I mean, the reality, like I just got done telling you, is there's only 11 guys that can win it, and Rahm's one of them. I'm taking Rahm. I've been on your show for years telling you that when Rahm is at his best, no one can beat him. I believe that. There's going to be a million people on Rory. There's going to be a million people on Scheffler. I know this isn't really a metric, but I don't love guys, quote unquote, winning back to back. I know last year has nothing to do with this year, but the champions dinner is real, meaning there is pressure on the defending champion to come up with that special menu, Double D, to host all the players that have won in the past. There's the live guys. There's the obviously the all-time greats like Jack that are there. I do believe there is something to the hangover effect from the champions dinner that makes it really hard to defend. So I'm not picking Scottie Scheffler. I'm not picking Rory. I'm picking Jon Rahm as my winner. But I do think that there are a host of other guys that have a good chance kind of off the radar. I really like Jason Day and Justin Rose. Now, Justin Rose, you want to make some money. Rose is so far down the list. All my bets have Justin Rose to top 10 because you can make a lot of money on that. And then my real wild card, Double D, the guy that I have right next to Jon Rahm is Tyrrell Hatton, the Englishman. If you look at the history of the Masters, foreign players have always played really well. I like Tyrrell Hatton a lot. I like him a lot this week. And, Rahm's my winner. I got plenty of stock in Tyrrell Hatton. And as I told you, Jason Day and Justin Rose are 2 guys that are filling out my card.
What about a guy like Justin Thomas? What about a guy like Jordan Spieth? Spieth won there before. Thomas seems to be all the rage. Everybody loves, that kind of thing. What about those 2 guys?
Right. I mean, Jordan Spieth plays Augusta National better than anyone in history. And that's metrics. That's not me. That's, you go look at the strokes averaged and what he's been able to do. He's obviously already won it. He had a 5-shot lead on the back 9 a second time. I mean, he's been really good there. I don't trust Jordan, Double D, at all on Sunday to win a major. I think it's going to be really difficult for him to ever win one again just because he's become so skittish. He really is, and I like Jordan a lot. I root for Jordan Spieth, but he has become a skittish player. And with that amount of heat on Sunday, I would fear to be in the gallery because that ball could be going anywhere.
About Thomas?
I mean, you're picking two guys, by the way, Thomas and Spieth, that are in the 11. So 100%, both guys could win. I don't love Thomas's ball flight or putting enough at this golf course. He's won 2 PGA championships. He's a 2-time major winner. He's obviously one of the best players on the planet. He's won a Players Championship. But when you look at places that kind of correlate and say, okay, you'll also play good at Augusta National, for Justin Thomas, I just don't see the fit. I think a Masters is going to be difficult for him to win. But he's on that 11. As I tell you, I think it's going to be difficult for him to win because there just aren't that many choices. It comes back to me telling you, Double D, that I'm telling you Thomas probably won't win, but he's on my 11 because it's just such a weak field as far as guys that potentially could win.
What about guys that have played well, got names? Like Harrison English seems to be there. I know he's a great putter. You know, putting seems to be important. Victor Hovland is a guy that people are waiting for him to become the next big thing. What about guys like that?
Victor Hovland for sure, Dan. I think that, a lot is made that he can't chip the ball. The reality is at Augusta National, you can putt from everywhere, right? So you're taking Victor Hovland, one of the best ball strikers in the world, and you're telling him that the weakest part of his game, he may not even have to do it all this week at Augusta National. So Victor Hovland, Xander Schauffele, I mean, those are guys that I have 100% on my list of 11 as guys that just hit it so good that I kind of like their chances this week. I've taken Hideki Matsuyama off my 11. He's not healthy. Still neck problems are kind of interfering with the former champion. I told you about the live guys like a Dustin Johnson, not on my 11. Dustin just hasn't played great on the live tour. The couple guys that have stood out to me on the live tour, certainly Koepka won a week ago, and we know Koepka is a big game hunter. He does seem to rise to the occasion and kind of embrace the kind of pressure he'll feel this week. And then another guy that really intrigues me because everybody hates him, and the more that people hate him, the better he seems to be, and that is Patrick Reed. He hasn't done anything on live. Of course, he's won the Masters, so he'll keep coming back here. I wouldn't be one bit surprised if Patrick Reed was able to top 20 this week.
I'm going to run, if you have a chance, if you don't mind, I'm going to run a couple of matchups that DraftKings put together for today. All right, and I'm just curious your thoughts on him. I mentioned Harrison English. I read something on Harrison English. I kind of like Harrison English. Victor Hovland is minus 145 against Abraham Answer today.
Right. I'm taking Answer plus the 145 today or tomorrow.
Wow. Really?
Abraham
I see
Answer is
Victor, huh?
It's really an interesting matchup because they're arguably two of the top 5 ball strikers in the world. Abraham Answer hits it better than everyone. His short game isn't great, which has been a bit of a problem for him. But with those odds, I'll take Answer at 145.
Mickelson plus 115 against Harrison English.
Oh, yeah, English all day. Phil's done.
That's what I thought, right? That's kind of what I thought. Like, Koepka is minus 110 against Pereira, who is also minus 110.
Yeah, I'm going Koepka there. That's a couple of live guys that Koepka's plays 1-2 of his last 6 tournaments. I mean, I'll take Brooks all day.
I don't want to do this forever and ever, but Justin Thomas against Cam Smith. It was like a year ago where Cam Smith, you can make the argument, was as good a player as there was in the whole freaking world.
Oh, no, you can't make an argument. He was. I mean, he was the best player in the world. You know, he's an incredibly honest person, Dan, and he's been upfront that he took an absurd amount of money and he wanted to live part of his year in Australia because he loves to party, he loves to surf and fish, and he likes that part of his life in Australia. But he did say, my game is nowhere compared to where it was a year ago at this time because I just haven't been playing tournament golf because, remember, Liv's only played a couple times.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's one of those odd deals where you're kind of like, man, if you'd have asked me a year ago, Cam Smith all day, every day, and now it's like, yeah, I don't know. All right, who's your 11? Recap your 11 if you don't mind.
Sure. It's going to be pretty scratch because that's what the Masters is. They want a big name to win it. So I'm going to go right down the list with Scheffler, with Rahm, with Rory, with Thomas, with Spieth. I'm throwing in Day, Rose, Hatton, who I told you I love at 8. Certainly you start to look at some of the guys that have history on this golf course, like a Brooks Koepka, who has been in the mix here a couple times, like a Tony Finau, who's been in here a couple times. So I think when you start to look at guys, other than Koepka, I take two things, Dan. And this is how I've been so good at actually predicting the winner of this event. I take a player that has played well here before, and then who has shown me form in the last month and a half on tour. So for sure, that obviously is Scheffler, Rahm, Max Homa, Jason Day. I'm telling you, there's something about Day this week. I really like Jason Day. Adam Scott obviously has great history on this golf course. I'll be posting it later today, Dan, and for sure I'll put it on there. There's a couple things from today's practice round where you walk over and you just get a look at someone's eye and the way they look. I want to see these. I'll be over there this afternoon. I want to see the look in these live players' eyes. I want to see if Cam Smith looks like he's cashed in his chips and he's here for fun, or if he's here to win. And I won't know that until I actually get a chance to look into those eyes and you can see, is he here to win or is he here because he cashed in his chips? You know what I'm saying?
I do. Are you at Augusta National right now?
No, I'm at Augusta Country Club. They share. I'll give you a view here. These trees, that is what separates Augusta Country Club from Augusta National. One of our sponsors put together a deal today where I couldn't get out. I tried everything in my power to not play here today, Dan, because I wanted to have the proper backdrop for this interview, but I just couldn't get out of it.
Well, hit him straight, my friend. Great stuff as always. You do respect the show. I take back my harsh words.
All right, my man. Talk to you soon.
All right. That's a great Ryan Burr. Follow him on Twitter, at Ryan Burr. I'm telling you, he is right. He nails it. And Terrell Hatton, while he was on, I just made a ton of bets on DraftKings. I multitask. All right, we come back. I got more headlines. Dusty May, top of the hours. Keep it right here. Oh, boy. Didn't even bow. Right. Respect the show. Yeah. The YouTube chat is pumping today, people. Always, every day. I'm going there right now. I'm taking a look, see what's going on.
Brady recently retiring. Your locker was very close to Tom's locker, wasn't
right
it?
next to 12, yeah.
What was that like?
Man, it was cool, man. He's a funny dude, man. He's a nice guy. Joke with him every day. He's a good dude, man. He's probably one of the only dudes that I know that walk around in a bathrobe in the locker room, bro. So
you go up against him in practice all the time. Could you see that big jump coming from Daniel Jones going into this season?
Man, when I first played against Daniel, coming in last year and seeing him work, man, I knew, the talent that he had. It was just one of those things where, you always hear the saying, God's timing is always right. It was just one of those moments where you knew eventually it was going to click and everything was going to work out, not just for him, but for us as a team. And I'm just so happy for him.
Which video game are you most proud of making the cover for?
Oh, definitely Madden. Madden, yeah. Like I remember I come from a big family. My mom had 6 sisters and 1 brother, and a lot of cousins, 30-some cousins, and and I remember one of the younger ones was like, "Man, you're on Madden. You're really good." And I was like, "Cuz, like, I was the high school #1 player in the country.
Yeah.
I broke every record at Alabama, All-American. I get the pros. I'd won the MVP already.
Yeah.
Been to the Super Bowl, won the MVP. He's like, now because of Madden, now you're cool. I was like, oh, okay.
You had done a few things.
Yeah. Now I'm good. Okay, all right. Well, that's how it works in y'all's minds.
And I remember when I first started working in the morning news. Shout out to Drew Kaliski, super producer for NFL Today. He was just talking about season. How you feeling? You ready to go? Are you excited? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like awkwardly hesitating to ask me a question. And I'm like, what's up, man? Speak your piece. And he's like, do you know what's going on in the NFL? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, do you know who plays for what teams and who's been traded where? I'm like, yeah, bro, what do you think? I'm living under a rock? And this is my job. I'm studying just like anything else.
Don't sleep on Terrell Hatton. I'm telling you, Ryan Burr, when he comes on our show or when he posts it at Ryan Burr on Twitter, I'm telling you, that dude is usually spot on. Now, look, I'm not saying that he went out on a big limb with his 11, but if you've watched the Masters, you know that 11, that's right. The cream rises at Augusta National. And again, it's a shorter field. Half the field is made up because you have a lifetime exemption as a Masters winner. So you got a bunch of old guys in there. They're going to shoot 78 or above. Then you got amateurs who one of them will play well. One of the old guys will play well. You're looking live at Bernard Langer, 3 under through 8. It seems like Freddie Couples, Bernard Langer, and those guys, they hang in there early, and I don't know, then they go away, and the cream always rises. So when I was just sitting here, I did bet Justin Thomas. His odds are long, plus 200, 2,200, meaning if you bet $50, you win over $1,000. $100 get you $2,200. So I put $50 on him just because what the hell, and then I bet a bunch of others. But I'm telling you, my man Burr is not wrong often. And speaking of the Masters, massive crowds are already gathered to watch Tiger Woods. I mean, massive crowds hanging out around Tiger Woods. And it should be. Tiger himself said he does not know how many years he has left. And he's right. Remember, he's got the leg that is shriveled up and by all accounts looks horrendous, according to Ryan Burr, who is a member of Tiger's somewhat inner circle. And Tiger Woods getting old, man, which sucks. I can't believe Tiger Woods is getting old. It feels like yesterday I was watching him on NBC at my buddy Jordan Jolivet's house win the U.S. Amateur. And now all of a sudden he's talking about Tiger Woods. Well, I'm kind of at the end of my deal, and he's not wrong. Tiger Woods being too old to compete in competitive golf is nothing more than just sad. Just freaking sad. There's no other way to describe it. So here's the Tiger Woods having a good tournament. Here's the Tiger Woods making the cut. Here's the Tiger Woods putting himself in position where at least we got to pay attention to him. I don't expect him to be a contender. I don't expect him to be in the end last 4 or 5 groups. I don't expect that at all. In fact, it'd be a little bit interesting if he even makes the cut. But I love when Tiger Woods is playing. I just do. I don't get my morality from golfers. And Tiger Woods out there slinging it around, stooping, doing all the stuff Tiger Woods does, God bless him. He's a guy's guy. He kicked his girlfriend out. That girl Harmon, he kicked her out, lied, said, hey, look, we're going on a trip. She left, locked her out, changed the locks. Adios. It was a 2-day story, and now everybody's moved on. But I'm just telling you, if you get a chance, do yourself a favor, go see Tiger Woods. My only regret as a sports fan is I didn't go see Gretzky play. Never saw Gretzky. I was too young really to go see Muhammad Ali fight, but I don't know. I didn't go see Gretzky. Go see Tiger Woods hit a golf ball if you can. All right, the New England Patriots, let's talk a little NFL. Head coach, general manager Bill Belichick apparently has shopped Mac Jones around. He's looking for a new quarterback. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't know. Whether this is made up, whether he made a phone call, maybe he thought he had a deal with Green Bay, maybe he thought he could get Aaron Rodgers over there, which, hey, look, we'll give you Mac Jones in a first-round pick, whatever. That is shopping him around. But I can't see, because I always say this, who are you going to get to replace him? Hey, look, Gardner Minshew's already with us, pal, in Indianapolis. That's right. Gardner Minshew's off the board, so it's not like you can get rid of Mac Jones and bring in the great Gardner Minshew. I'm kidding, of course. But you got to say, all right, this story came out. That's the story. They're going to, they being Belichick, going to, quote, shop around Mac Jones. Maybe it's true. But let me ask you a question. If you're going to do that shopping, who are you replacing him with? I'll hang up and listen. Who are you replacing him with? Who is going to be your quarterback? Because you don't shop around a quarterback unless you got another quarterback. But again, maybe they went and called Lamar Jackson. Maybe they went and called the Ravens and said, look, we want Lamar Jackson. We'll give you Mac Jones and picks. Again, that is shopping around. But is that real? That's what you got to look at in all of these, because you know and I know that headlines can absolutely skew it one way. Well, you know. I don't know if you know this or not, Sean Black. I don't know if any of you guys know this, but the word on the street is they're shopping around Mac Jones. Here's the deal with that. I got dry mouth today. I don't know why. Here's the deal with that. It's kind of smart, even if you're not shopping around Mac Jones. You know that football saying, well, you know, Dakich, iron sharpens iron. Yeah, it do. Iron sharpens iron, Dakich. It does it every damn time, Dakich. Yeah, well, okay, what does that mean? Well, here's what that means. That means, ladies and gentlemen, that you, Mac Jones, needs competition and needs a little bit of uncertainty in his existence. It's basically saying, look, Mac, don't get too comfortable being the quarterback of the New England Patriots. We did not let Tom Brady get overly confident. We're certainly not going to let Mac Jones get overly confident. That's what he may be doing, Belichick, and it ain't stupid. All right, so now, let's talk NBA for just a second. I had a friend of mine ask me, hey, Dan, what are we going to bet on after Masters Week? It's an interesting question. See, in my world, I think I said this yesterday. If I didn't, I'll say it again. In my world, I am good for games 2, 3, and 4 in NBA playoff series. I'm good for those. I'll help you with those. Games 1 make me crazy, and it all goes back to the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, opening round of the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks at home. I think it was the year Jordan's team, I don't know if they won 70-some, but they were really good, and the Hawks were just the 8th seed. The Atlanta Hawks went into Chicago and beat Michael Jordan's team. That taught me Game 1 playoff series are weird, man. Stay away from them unless you really know something. Games 2, everybody and their mother bet on Michael Jordan. 3, 4, you know what I'm saying. So here's the deal. Games 2, 3, and 4, as we move forward in the NBA playoffs, I will be there for you. Here's the other deal. Speaking of NBA, you know the big racist Kendrick Perkins? He told us all, right? He told us all white guys are only voting for white guys and all this stupidity. And he's been all over Joel Embiid as the MVP. Well, last night, Joel Embiid, I mean, you got to give Joel Embiid a little bit of credit. He finished with 50, 3 points, 2 points, 52. I gave him one too many. He shot 25 times. He made 20. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I know that that's 80% because to get to 100, you go 4 times 25, which means you go 4 times 20. It's 80%. See what I did there? I did some math. They didn't say there wouldn't be math on this show. You know there's always something on this show. But anyway, so Doc Rivers says, hey, look, it's over. It's just over. Doc's a 76er. He said, we did so many things wrong, but what we did right was Joel Embiid. The MVP race is over. So there you go. The MVP race is over. That's it. But I got to tell you, you do that against the Celtics, Jaylen Brown and others, that's pretty good. Now, I don't know if the NBA race is over, but when a guy drops 50-some, you know what we're going to do? We're going to say, ooh, particularly this time of year, particularly against really, really, really good teams. Here's something that I like. Listen to this. You don't hear this anymore in sports. The St. Louis Cardinals, they're different in baseball, right? They're different. You know they are. The St. Louis Cardinals have a manager named Oliver Marmol. Oliver Marmol was not happy with his right fielder. His right fielder is a guy named Ryan O'Neal. All right? Ryan O'Neal didn't hustle. Ryan O'Neal went slow. Tyler O'Neal. Ryan O'Neal, pretty good actor. Had a daughter, Tatum. All right, it's not our style as far as effort rounding the bases here. It's unacceptable. He didn't think I gave the best effort, O'Neal said about his manager. I'm out here every day grinding my ass off, giving it my all and trying to stay on the field for 160 games out there. This is the player. Like I said, I just got to get a better jump next time. And I guess just get around the bases a little quicker and be there the next time. I like it. I do. Look, players are never going to shut up and say, you know, the coach is right. They're going to always fire back because they're insecure little twerps. But this guy, Tyler O'Neal, apparently he'd been a little banged up. You can say you're out there grinding. I'm grinding my blank off. Yeah, well, you can say that, but if you're not hustling around third base, guess what? You're not grinding your blank off. I haven't watched much Major League Baseball this year. I watched a Cubs game. I watched a right fielder for the Cubs that I think I'm moving him into he shall remain nameless. I watched him not die for a ball in right in a situation where he had to die for a ball in right. He didn't do it. And I'm hot about it. I'm sorry, I'm hot about it. I'm not happy. I'm going to find his name here. Some guy named Mastroboni. I wouldn't let Miles Mastroboni ever play again in a Cubs uniform. He didn't dive in right. You gone. You gone. Gone. And then he struck out to end the game. Miles Mastroboni, I got 2 words for you. My backside. Grab some bench. That's right. That's not what we say in baseball. We say, my ass is chapped. And grab some bench. I'm like Don Zimmer now with a head. Grab some bench. You're really chapping my ass. That's what we say. That and he's got the red arse. How's he doing? He's got the red arse. He's got the red arse on today. That's baseball lingo. I'm giving you some baseball talk here. I am. You know what, Aaron? You're really chapping my ass. And if you say backside, it just doesn't sound so good, right? You got to use the words. You got to swear. But we can't monetize the swearing here. But seriously, think about it. Nah, he came in with, what's his name? Jim Leland's burning the heater. He's really chapping. Baseball has its own language. But I'll tell you the language on that Mastroboni guy. Grab some bench. Bring back Jay Hay. Bring back Jason Hayward. That's all I got to say to you people. I love baseball language. We got to get Todd Frazier on here, and we got to talk baseball lingo, right? We got to say baseball lingo. I'm going to the Cubs game on Saturday, and I may annoy my wife. It's just Lee and I. We go once a year. We stay at the Zachary. My brother-in-law comes in whenever we leave. It's weird. My brother-in-law comes in. He goes fishing here, watches our dog, but only does it when we leave. I don't know. It's kind of a house-sitting thing. But here's the deal. So I'm going to sit in Wrigley. I'm going to watch the game, stay at the Zachary, have some dinner, and have a couple beers and enjoy 2.5-hour baseball. I don't know about you, but I like 2.5-hour baseball. I don't need 4 hours. Well, what else you got to do, Dan? I got nothing to do. But I don't want to sit there for 4 hours. I got places to go, baby. I got to be at Gibson's. I got to be at Hugo's Frog Bar. I got to be at Carmine's having a little something nice. I got to be at the Zebra Lounge. I'm not going to tell you where the Zebra Lounge is. It's the best place to go late night in Chicago. David Anspaugh, who wrote Hoosiers, is mad at me for saying that. He's always mad at me. He knows the Zebra Lounge. He loves the Zebra Lounge. The Zebra Lounge is a piano bar. It's about this big. And I can't believe that I'm talking about it. I can't. Dan, your Cubs stink. No, they don't. No, they don't. We're going to get Tucker Barnhart on here. He told me that he thinks they're going to be pretty damn good. So there you go. All right. Dusty May had an unbelievable run through the NCAA tournament. And it wasn't just through the NCAA tournament. Dusty May had a run like no other. Every mid-major coach, and I coached at the mid-major level for 10 years, every mid-major coach, everyone, dreams of having the run that Dusty May has. Every mid-major coach sells recruits on we're going to be the next. Now it's we're going to be the next Florida Atlantic. Used to be we're going to be the next George Mason, then VCU, then Wichita State, right? Because all these teams, they've made the final. As a mid-major, that's what you dream of. That's what you recruit to. And Dusty May not only got his team there, they, to me, were the second best team. They lost on a tough jump shot by the Lamont Butler. Great shot. They get beat. I'm going to ask Dusty, does he live this way? Does he live the way I live, which is I still think about 4 games in my life that we lost. One as a high school player when my teammate missed 2 free throws with no time on the clock. One as a college player when I turned the ball over against Virginia in the Elite 8 with 1:18 to go. Kid named Kent Needland stole it, dribbled the length of the court. We were up 1. It put them up 1. I blame myself still. I blame myself, well, not really, but a loss to Penn State when I was coaching, and maybe the biggest or one of the biggest was a loss to Miami when I was coaching Bowling Green because I thought we were going to make the tournament. Other guys in coaching don't even think about it. They think about the wins. They're happy. Me, I think about the losses. We'll see what Dusty May, the head coach, the newly signed head coach at Florida Atlantic, what he thinks about when we come back.
Welcome into OutKick the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader. I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life. ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
So the higher that number can be, the better you are with the committee. It's really that simple.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
He's got incredible taste in which media figures he listens to.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the number 1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna live. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
Why are we going through Melania's goods? Don't make Brittany Griner out to be some type freedom fighter. Shouldn't there be a little bit of common sense? Let's roll 'em, big boy. What do you got?
They want to find someone to be the face of domestic terrorism, and they want it to be a right-wing Trump supporter. Don't let them entrap you into doing something dumb. But they were hyper-rational. They looked at the data, and they said it makes no sense for me to submit to this COVID shot mandate.
Get the shot or you can't go to your brother's wedding. Get the shot or you can't go to your daughter's graduation. Get the shot or else.
The great Dusty May, and I say great because when you do what Dusty has done at Florida Atlantic, it's great. There's a lot of jobs in college basketball that are automatic wins. Florida Atlantic is not one of those wins. I got to ask you, before we get into it, is it true that you took the job, didn't look at the facility, and thought, what the hell have I done, and thought seriously about returning to Florida?
Unfortunately, it's true. What happened, Coach, was I wasn't ready to leave Florida. I moved my kids around so much, and the University of Florida, they take such great care of you. We had a great team coming back. And so I just kind of said, you know what, I'm going to go check out FAU just to make sure. And I come down here, and I fall in love with the area, the community, the people. And I get to campus, and it's like a 5-star resort. And I meet with the president, the board, and they bring me the contract. And I'm too impulsive as is. I've taken too many jobs just without doing any homework just because it felt right. And then I came over to the facilities, and it was a different side of the world at that time. And our AD was brand new. The coaching staff had just got let go. So it was a mess and just a lot of it was daunting, though, when you realize you didn't have a locker room, you didn't have a weight room, you didn't have anything that you need to win.
But you took the job anyway. Like, I went to West Virginia, a different story. I ended up leaving after 7 days. So I get it. You know, I do. Sometimes you're like, whoa, wait a second here. No locker room, no weight room?
Well, the locker room was chopped up in it was more like a 1970s. It was chopped up. The lockers were the original lockers. At one point, they had shared with the general student body, the locker room, the basketball team did, not too long ago. And so it just presented really poorly. And they've done a lot of work since. They've made incremental progress every year. But when I got here, it was bad. There was the training room. There was a weight bench in the training room and a squat rack in the training room next to the tables. So there was a lot of work that needed to be done, and I'm not trying to badmouth the place, but it just wasn't ready for where we were going.
All right, you signed a new contract. I'm here in Indianapolis. Did you leave an out to go to Indiana?
There's no outs. No, absolutely not. No outs to go anywhere.
How do you handle loss like you had the other day? I said earlier, I literally, going back to a state championship game in high school, I think about 4 losses over 2 in my playing career, 2 in my coaching career, one of them at least every day. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people think about all the success. They stay positive. A lot of people do what I do. They think about, man, how do you handle it? Because obviously, a Final Four loss that close, tough shot beats you. That could linger with you a lifetime. How do you handle those things?
Be honest, Coach, the way I'm wired, and even our team is wired the same way, we didn't feel like we made too many mistakes that we hadn't made since Ole Miss in November. Like, we made a lot of just controllable mistakes. And as you know, the team that makes the fewest usually wins. So it did feel like we deserved to win that game as much as we had the rest of the games all season. So to me, that made the buzzer beater a little easier to take just because we didn't do the things necessary that got us to that point.
What was the biggest, like, what were the biggest grouping of mistakes that you felt your team made?
The free throw line blockouts and just not being quick to the ball, because that's why we won 35 games, or I don't even know how 35. That's why we won 35 games, is because almost every night we won majority of the 50-50 balls. We get 80-90% of them. We won the hustle plays every night, and we got out hustled for about a 5-minute stretch. And ultimately we felt like that was the difference.
You're watching the championship game. Was there any sense of you like, man, we should have been there, that's us, that kind of thing?
100%. We felt like we definitely could have been a tough matchup for UConn. Obviously, they were a phenomenal team, but we felt like we would have been right there with them. But no, in today's climate, I spent the national championship game trying to work the crowd in the room, trying to help our guys with all the stuff, raise money for the program. So I watched about 2 minutes of it because it was on several big screen TVs where I was, but I was kind of moving and shaking. So the necessary part of the job.
Was there postpartum depression? A woman has a baby and it's like, this is over and this is sadness that it's over. Was there a postpartum kind of a thing, or has there been for you guys after this great run all year long?
No, Coach, to be honest, it's on to the next. We have to capitalize on this run. And so there's no time to be sad. There's no time to rest. It's right now is very pivotal, because in 3 weeks, it's not going to be forgotten, but it's going to be faded. And because with sports and everything else, it's on to the next thing. So no, we've immediately went into mode where we have to take advantage of where we are right now. We have to keep our roster together. We have to keep our staff together. And if we do that, we have a chance to make a special run again. So later on in the summer, I'm sure we'll take a deep breath and be really sad that we came up a little bit short. But from where we started to where we ended, we're just very proud, and we had a blast doing it.
Yeah, you guys, I said you brought dignity back into coaching. You did. I mean, you just, the way you conducted not only yourself, but your team, and the whole thing was just like, man, this is kind of how it's supposed to be. But college basketball, the other side of it, and you mentioned it, I think, during the press conference, here you are, you build this team, and all of a sudden, I think you mentioned this, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but people are trying to poach your players, right, during this run. They're seeing your players through intermediaries, background. What was that like, or what is that like?
It's nothing new. I thought it was made into a bigger story than what it was. I never said the word poach. I said there are third parties reaching out to players on our team, to coaches in college basketball. So we're not, if a third party's talking to head coaches to move jobs, then why wouldn't third parties be talking to players? So it's just one of those things where our job is not to be consumed with that. We have to provide the best possible situation for our guys to be better today, tomorrow, and in the future. And we've had a handful of guys leave since we've been here, and we give them a big hug and we tell them good luck. And then we get on the phone and we start trying to find a replacement. And some of our best players we got because others jumped in the portal at the wrong times, and we were fortunate that they were still available. So we're never going to dwell on it. We're never going to, moan about it. It is what it is. The high majors, the low majors, the good Division IIs, everyone is facing it. If there's a high major player that's not playing, then people are reaching out to his people saying, hey, if he wants to play more, we have a spot for him. It's part of the back channels of college basketball. It is what it is. I'm definitely not complaining about it.
Yeah. I apologize if I made it seem like you were. I thought you were just very matter of fact, like you are in everything. I mean, when you look at this and the success that you had, let's go the other route. Have you had, high major kids reach out to you?
We become a lot sexier in the recruiting circles, for sure. We became more handsome. And I laughed with our guys. We coming back from the tournament. I said, now you guys have all, you've gotten a lot more handsome these last few weeks. Let's make sure that we don't change. We stay humble. We treat people with respect. And just kind of in a joking manner. But Absolutely, but we have right now on paper one scholarship available for next year. After postseason meetings, they all are still 100% committed to coming back. Obviously, anything can change at any time, but so now we've kind of shifted our focus to 2024 recruiting. We're going to add one piece, but other than that, we're just trying to find the right pieces because we'll have a big class next year.
You know, you're in a great situation, obviously, because of what you just said, one scholarship. It is daunting, though, because, as you said, things can change on a dime. At what point because I'm not in college coaching anymore. I talk to my son all the time about this, but at what point do you feel totally confident in your roster, totally confident this is the roster we're going to have?
12:01 a.m. May 12th.
Well, to explain to people why.
The portal closes.
I was talking to John Calipari. He had a job open. A friend of mine asked me to reach out to him, so I did. And he says, "Hey, Dan, I'm just trying to fill my team, man. I'll worry about coaches later, but I gotta fill my team." I want to go back to your run. When you were making your run, I always say you kind of get in like this bubble, right? Everything is boom to boom to boom to boom. Practice time, You get into the Final Four, and all of a sudden it's a little bit longer, it's a little bit different. Having a couple days to look back on it, is there anything you would have changed in terms of your preparation or what you did? Did you learn something, hopefully for the next time in terms of preparing a different schedule?
Well, the only thing, and I don't know how we would control it, is there's just so many people there early, and our players are distracted, and every player in the Final Four is distracted. You've been there. There's just so much going on. So I don't know if there's any way to just really try to, have your school headquarters at a hotel next door and you kind of hunker down at a smaller private place. I don't know if there's ways to do that. Obviously, this was not something we had a lot of time to prepare for or anticipate because, we were picked fifth in our league. So we weren't looking this far ahead. But I do think that if you could find a way to have a little bit more of an inclusive environment for just your program like it was all year, then you'd probably be a little bit fresher mentally and have a lot less people you have to speak to and say hello to and greet because, players, families, coaches, everyone's coming for this event. And it's a lot. I know just me getting through the lobbies and obviously I'm a nobody, but getting through the lobbies and whatnot, it's exhausting by the time you get to your room. So there's probably a better way, but I don't know if it's avoidable. And it might just be something where everyone has to deal with it. It's whoever can cope with it the best.
Your team was so good all year, and as a coach, you know better than any the look, I can say something, or Jim Nance, or Grant Hill, or Raff, or anybody, but they don't know your team like you know your team. When you started that game, when the tip goes up and they're up and down a few times, what was your sense of where your team was at from the get-go relative to how it had been over the course of the entire year?
We looked really comfortable, and we didn't look like the moment was too big. We just looked like we have all year. And going into it, we played in the football complex for the Cowboys with our conference tournaments. We've been in that big open environment before, but our guys, I'm telling you, Coach, if we can't work out this week, if we have workouts on Monday and we do 2 versus 2 or 4 versus 4, our guys will play with the same intensity that they played against San Diego State. It's all they know. It's who they are every single day. And now they weren't like that all from day one, but because of who they are as a group, it became like that. So for me, I was never worried about how hard we were going to compete. Now, sometimes we have guys that tried too hard and made some mistakes because they were trying to do too much or playing too hard. And so, but no, I thought we looked comfortable. I thought we looked like we belonged. And once we settled in, we played really good basketball for about 32 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. I thought people ask me about your team and they say, well, what happens after the game? I said, you know what? And please correct me. I said, based on what I've seen about Florida Atlantic, they got beat on Saturday. Whenever they get home, probably 3/4 of them are in the gym, probably Sunday night, based on what I saw out of your team.
We got delayed, so we got back late Sunday evening, and I went home and started unpacking all the free stuff we get from the Final Four. It's incredible, all the knickknacks and clothes and everything we get. But so Monday morning, I'm back in trying to get just plan for the week and all that. And there's a ball our shooting court's above me, and there's a ball bouncing by about 7:15, 7:30. And I'm like, man, this can't be our guys. And there's a couple of them up there shooting. And then I walk out to use the restroom at lunchtime, and they're playing pickup. After we encouraged the main heavy minute guys to take 2 weeks off, and we told the bottom half of the roster that didn't play a lot, they'd probably get 1 week off, and then we'd start working them out. And they're all, the entire team, but one or two guys that have nagging injuries are playing pickup at noon. And it's just, I said, I'm not going to get mad at these guys because it's what they love to do. Why, if you love doing it, why would you want to take time off? And I've said that about me with working. I enjoy every part of this job. Well, 90% of the job. So it's not as if I'm this workaholic or I need to be praised because I work hard, because it's fun to go to practice. It's fun to watch film. It's fun to watch other teams play, to learn. So I think our guys are like that, where they really enjoy the game. They love the game. And so therefore it's what they want to do when they don't have anything else going on.
Isn't it amazing? Like, it's so simple, but just get in there and work your ass off and love what you're doing, and usually good things happen. I knew that was your team. It had to be your team. It wasn't like, all of a sudden your guys are going to go become, I don't know, network stars. They just seem like the kind of guys that want to get after it and play ball and have fun playing ball. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. And obviously with the NIL and stuff, they're going to spend a couple weeks trying to capitalize. And now with the state laws, we can help them. Even going into the tournament, we talked about it. If you're worried about NIL right now, this minute, then you're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. And a couple of them did 30-second commercials or whatever. And we weren't down, but for the most part, these guys were focused on trying to win a national championship. And anytime we were in film practice, there was no distractions. It was just kind of all the other stimulation outside of those times.
How many? A friend of mine just sent me a text. Hey, ask Dusty how many jobs he turned down.
I didn't turn down any. I was never offered any jobs. It was early in the process, and I made it clear to everyone around me that I knew that I had here, and I wasn't looking to move. So it never got to that point.
Your conference? How good is your conference? How well did your conference show? Holy cow!
I know it's amazing that the people don't know, whether it's the television deal or just because no one expected it. But when you look at UAB and North Texas and these schools and Middle Tennessee State, I mean, if they didn't have to play only road games at high majors at Power Fives, if you could play on neutral sites and at home and homes, and it would be a significant difference in the computer numbers and whatnot. But even the bottom of the league was I mean, you look at Western Kentucky's. Coach Stansberry's out, but they have maybe the most talented roster in our league. UTEP was good, and they finished near the bottom. FIU is good. So there's so many teams in our league outside of the top four that were all really, really talented, but because of the strength and depth of the league, they didn't have the years that they probably should have in a regular season.
Yeah, I got addicted to your league and the Mountain West. I watched more basketball this year than I have since I was coaching, and I don't know for whatever the reason. I just started watching your league, and I started watching the Mountain West, mostly because of Alford, to watch his teams. And I'm like, holy crap, this is really good and really fun. To the point now, all right, you're going to have a really good team next year. Guys coming back, the whole deal. That affects scheduling, does it not? Like, are you going to, there's all these tournaments, whether it's Maui. I know some of them are scheduled in advance, but how has that affected the opportunities for scheduling for Florida Atlantic next year?
It's been really good and really bad, where we are getting invited to those big time MTEs on ESPN in great locations. And we're going to play in one of them against, I think we're the only maybe non-Power 5 in one of them, in an 18 field. And then we're able to get into some of these Orange Bowl Classics and things like that we were never able to get into. But as far as, now we're not able to schedule any home and homes. So it's been really good and really bad. So So I think we're just going to skip everything and just call anyone else that has a really good mid-major team. We're just going to call them and say, hey, let's both cut through the crap. You're going to have trouble scheduling. We're going to have trouble scheduling. Let's flip a coin to see where we start, and let's play a home and a home. So,
it's funny. Tommy Amaker, we beat him at Michigan. We had a really good team. He came in my office after. He goes, hey, man, great freaking win. We was at our place. Great environment, but we're never playing you again. You know what I mean? It was just – so, yeah, nobody wants to play you other than, I guess, these tournaments. But to your point, you can, in your league now, I would hope, build a tournament resume through your league and, to your point, playing other big-time mid-majors.
Well, Coach, if we didn't win the conference tournament, I would say 95 to 99% we were in this year.
I know.
And our objective this past year was let's look at whoever's predicted to be the mid-major conference champions in all these leagues. Northern Kentucky was picked to win their league. Bryant was picked to, they just came off a tournament run. So we tried Detroit Mercy. Coach Davis had his most talent, with Antoine, and we thought they were going to be in contention. So Eastern Michigan, when they signed Imani Bates, we did that contract after they got Imani Bates. So we just went out and tried to find the best mids, and also knowing that they would have trouble scheduling. Let's just, like you said, let's just play each other and save everyone a lot of time. And so we'll do that again this year. We'll reach out to the best mid-majors with great teams coming back that are going to have trouble scheduling, and hopefully the dates and logistics work out.
You were at Indiana, and Indiana is a place where I always say this about Coach Nye, take out the preparation part of it. The best thing he did as a coach was make everybody refocus after success. That's not the easiest thing to do. I came there as a freshman after they had won a national championship, and I was shocked at, man, nobody gave a rat's ass about the national championship. It was about 1981-82, not 1980-81. And I've always admired coaches that can do that. That's a challenge now that you guys face because of the national success. Is it not? That's something that a coach has to be very careful with. Or maybe not. Your perspective on handling great, not good success, unbelievable success.
No, Coach, I was talking to one of our players 30 minutes ago, and that's going to be our biggest obstacle. And our staff will sit down in the next week and we'll brainstorm what are our challenges going to be going forward. And then we have to start addressing those challenges now. And if we can't predict the challenges, then we don't know our guys very well. So that, without a doubt, the stardom, the being the big show in town, the sellouts, the attention, all the stuff that comes with it that can change you at 20 years old if you're not careful. Well, we're hopeful that to the core, and our values don't change, but to the core, we're the same people, and therefore nothing changes because all this other stuff is just the fluff. But who we are as people, who we are to the core, doesn't change. I know I'm not going to change. I know our staff's not going to change. I'm pretty confident that our players aren't either. So I'm not saying we're going to win every game. But I do think that when you see us, we're going to have the same mindset and the same toughness and determination that we had this year.
Yeah, I have a good friend who's very involved with North Carolina, and he said that was the biggest problem at Carolina. People can say whatever, but he's like, look, biggest problem was handling success. That's a tough thing. Man, I appreciate you helping us on our show, coming on as often as you have. I think this is the third time, man. And like I said earlier, I appreciate bringing dignity back to coaching, like coaching hard, coaching well, all that kind of stuff. But just the way you and your operation and your team and your assistants and everybody, from my perspective, I appreciate that, Dustin. And again, I thank you for that. And I thank you for take the time to come on our show. You've really made a difference for us, as you have obviously for your players, your school, and everything else. And thanks for that.
Coach, anytime. Really appreciate it. And you said about the staff, man, these guys, they're unbelievable, where they don't complete team ego, no selfishness, no look at me. They're just trying to help our guys be the best. And that's one of the main reasons we are where we are.
Yeah, before I let you go, it's funny. I watched that. I watched that so closely when I was broadcasting. I watched it, and there's a lot of I staff members, and I'm watching your staff, and man, every guy was involved. And I guess in the right way, and I can't define the right way, but every guy was involved in making the game better for your players and making the game better for you. It's fascinating to watch. Something I watch very closely. I think you got one of the great staffs in college basketball. So anyway, whatever that means, that's my take as a guy who watches that very closely. It's great to watch.
I appreciate that. Yep, 100%, Coach. But I appreciate everything. And
thanks,
let me know if
Dusty.
you ever. Yeah, thanks, Coach.
Thank you. That's Dusty, man. I've watched so much crap in college basketball, and to watch Dusty do his thing is fantastic. It really is. And I'm very critical of coaches. And I was a maniac as a coach, completely out of my mind. I worked for a maniac as a coach, completely out of his mind. And I get it. I'm being a little hypocritical here. Anybody that knows me, I told the story yesterday of my mother after we beat Toledo. My mother, the holiest of all women. We beat Toledo. It's a big win. I'm sitting at my house after having a bowl of cereal. About 1 a.m, my mother comes down and she's like, Daniel? And I think this is going to be, I'm so proud of you, right? No, you embarrassed our family and yourself tonight. I'm like, what? She goes, your language in front of so many people was horrendous. And I'm like, Mom, I honestly don't care about anything other than winning. I don't care whether people, she's going, well, you can not care, but I just want to tell you that, boom, I did not bring dignity to the coaching profession the way I handled most things. Excuse me, and I'm not happy about that as I look back, because I legitimately did not care if the kid in the third row heard me MF an official as long as we got the win. But Dusty May gets the win, and he handles it beautifully. It's unbelievable, and I respect the living crap out of it. But I tell you this, don't underestimate how hard it is in the summer, in the fall, in the spring, right now, to handle success when you're 18 to 23 years old. Hell, it's hard to handle success when you're 50. Of course it is. It's a tough thing in college sports, and I believe this. With Coach Knight, I will tell anybody that asks, yeah, unbelievable with preparation, ridiculous with preparation, no question about it. But the number one thing that he did was make you move on after a great success. That's right. That's a fact, Jack. All right, I got What the Hell Wednesday. I got a lot to get to with What the Hell Wednesday. Tell your friends, get on Twitter. Let's grow this thing. Let's go. Let's go. Be right back.
How hard is it to repeat? I have no idea. Never did it. I would argue that it's probably, I would say without a doubt, probably the hardest sport to repeat in. Even though, you look at the Braves in the 90s, who won, what did they win? 15, 16 straight division titles, one World Series. The Indians in the late 90s should have had multiples. To me, that's what makes the Yankee thing so amazing. That 97, 98, 99 run, or 98, 99, 2000 run is incomprehensible to me as a player. I played in 4 World Series, blessed to play in 4 of them. 1993, then 8 years later, then 3 years later, then 3 years later. No team that I was ever on come late May had a in my opinion, we did. Arizona, we got hurt late. Gonzo went down late in the year, and RJ and I were hurt on and off during the season. 02. We had a good series, but Gonzo got hurt late in the year in the postseason. In 04, we got to the playoffs, or 05, we got to the playoffs, and the White Sox won it that year. We had to play through the end of the season to get in. I remember pitching that last day against the Indians, or against the Yankees, with the Indians needing a win or a loss. But we ended up getting swept by the White Sox in the series. I never got the pitch in, but I can't imagine it. It takes an enormous amount of talent, but probably twice as much luck to avoid injuries and stupid stuff. In the middle of a pennant race and your best player gets brought up on charges of sexual assault, stuff like that. Which in today's day and age, now it's gone to in the middle of a pennant run and your shortstop says something on Twitter and is immediately throttled by the cancel culture. And unfortunately, those are the things. Those are going to happen. And surprisingly, Still, players are getting caught doing PEDs, which blows me away that people are that stupid. But yeah, if you can avoid that stuff for year after year after year, and these are 9-month seasons, guys. This goes from February to late October if you're a winner. That's amazing to avoid that in a year, much less 2, 3, 4 years. So yeah, really, really hard.
Yeah, I said this earlier, and I'll say it again. I'm getting a little tired of college athletes, getting a little tired of Angel Reese. I get it. You're hood, you're ghetto, you're all these things. Great. She's mad, and of course it's about race. She's mad that they're little white girls at Iowa, according to her, were invited to the White House. I won't go. We won't go. We'll go see Barack and Michelle Obama. You go do whatever you need to do. Yeah, you get to a point with college athletes where you just get tired of them. Like, I got tired of hearing about Hunter Dickinson at Michigan talking about the NIL and how unfair it is. Shut up. I got tired of Frank Kaminsky. I got tired of Jordan Bohannon. I got tired of the kid who went from Harvard to Ohio State and he never played at Ohio State because he was always hurt and everything's terrible in the world. You just get tired of them. Now, it doesn't mean they shouldn't speak, doesn't mean they can't speak, doesn't mean, but I get tired of them. Then they go away and we don't have to hear from them anymore. Remember Nigel Hayes, the kid from Wisconsin who walked around with a sign, poor athlete at Wisconsin when they were making their Final Four run? We had to listen to Nigel Hayes for a minute. And now who the hell knows where Nigel Hayes is, but I'll guarantee you this, as I told my son, you're never going to live a better life than you are living at the University of Michigan in a luxury apartment with a luxury food, with luxury accommodations relative to your training, your workout, your masseuse, free movies, all this stuff until you're about 50. Oh, but we got to listen. So now we got to listen to Angel Reese and her little finger and all of her stupid stuff. And I'm tired of her. They can have that spotlight. We'll go to the Obamas. We'll see Michelle. We'll see Barack. Shut up. I'm just tired of you. Yeah, you don't be. You don't have to be. But it didn't take. I just get tired. Hey, look, Caitlin Clark said, hey, look, good for them. They won the game. We're not going. I get all that. That's great. But I get tired of Nigel Hayes. I get tired of Frank Kaminsky. You get tired of Jordan Bohannon, the little weasel that played at Iowa. You just get tired of these little weenies. You just do. So have your moment. Tell us how we're all supposed to live. Be your race-baiting self, and let's move on. I'm also tired of unfairness. At least do us a favor in this world, will you? If you're going to drop 35 charges, 35 felonies on Donald Trump, great. If he committed felonies, put his ass in jail. But at least be honest and charge Hillary Clinton with her 330,000 deleted emails. At least be honest. Paula Jones, remember that name? Bill Clinton, Paula Jones? They were doing the thing. Next thing you know, Clinton paid her somewhere around $850,000 to shut up. Charge her too. At least give us the impression of fairness. I mean, if you're going to waste all of our taxpayer money, then at least be fair in this. That's all we ask. We ask for fairness when we go get a car. We ask for fairness when we go buy anything. We don't want to walk into a store and pay $30 for a bag of eggs. Be fair with your pricing. Be fair with your charging. Be fair as a district attorney, or get the hell out. Juanita Broderick, raped, allegedly, by Bill Clinton. What did she get? She got threatened by Hillary Clinton. That's what she got. No charges filed. It's like, look, we get it. It's a very liberal media. It's a very liberal world we live in. That's great. You control it, but be fair. Because if you don't, then people are going to have to rise up, and nobody wants people rising up. We don't need that in our world. But that's what's going to happen because a lack of fairness brings frustration, and frustration brings reaction. It's literally that simple. Jeez. All right, Angel Reese, we see ya. Yeah, you got a ring. Yay, Rod. Now just go away for a little bit. Just like Kaminsky. So see, I'm putting a white person in here, so you can't call me racist. I got two white guys in there, Bohannon, and of course, I've got Kaminsky in there. So you can't call me racist. I put white guys in there. I judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Period. And I will always. And I will take your shots, but that's what I do. All right, speaking of character, I don't think a carjacker, now maybe I'm wrong, but I think if you're involved in carjacking, you're inherently a rotten human being. You know what, and I get it, people get desperate, but I do think carjacking makes you a rotten human being. So in LA, Agora Hills, which is a nice area, there was a carjacking. Let's have a look here, shall we? There you go.
Get out of the car! Get out! Get out of the car! Stop! Get out! Get out of the car!
What the f? Grab her. What the f?
What is the matter with you? Call 911!
Call 911!
She literally missed 10 calls.
What the hell?
3 guys are holding her down. 2 guys hit her.
What is the matter with you?
Please hit her.
Do you understand?
Do you know how many people you almost just killed?
Finally, like how long into that was it where somebody finally said, hey, call 911? Right? Like, I don't know. How about a dude's jacking a car, call 911? Right? Is that so ridiculous? You know, I get tired also. I'm tired today, apparently. I get tired of people holding cameras instead of stepping in. I don't want to step in the middle of that, but people are nuts. People are completely out of their minds, so that didn't go well. All right, I don't know if you saw this, but after being tackled and being arrested in front of 56,000 spectators, an idiot fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers, you see him being tackled right there, he was going to propose to his wife, right? So this guy is now part of a GoFundMe aimed at paying for his wedding. Let me tell you something. Here's what should happen. So this clown ran on the Dodger Stadium, was going to get on one knee, propose to his wife. You see security right there, tackles this idiot. Here's what should happen. The GoFundMe should go negative. People should be able to draw from his account. They should say, look, clown, I came there for a baseball game. Your fat ass got out there. You wanted to kneel down. You got tackled in the middle of the outfield. You owe us money. That's it. You owe us money. You owe us, so we're going to take money from you. There will be some dummy that will give this idiot money, and that's fine. But it should be, hey, look, pal, I went to the game. I don't need this. I don't need your grandstanding in my life. You want to be an idiot at a game? Do yourself. Put it on the Dodger Spectrum or Dodger Jumbotron and say, look, other fat lady, marry me. Other idiot, if you're dumb enough to marry this guy, then you're really stupid. So don't give these people money. No. Hell no. Don't do it. Don't give them money. Take their money. Venmo them. Tell this guy that he owes you $30 for your time. Reverse Venmo. Reverse GoFundMe. I ain't mad at reverse GoFundMe. And how dumb is this woman going to marry this clown? I get it, desperate times, desperate measures, and you got to marry somebody eventually, so you might as well marry some clown that's going to run on the field because he loves me. He loves me. He loves me. That's why I'm running on the field. Oh, my God, he loves me so much. Lee, if I run on the field and propose, divorce me, will you? Yeah. All right. She's sitting over there getting ready. Lee's got a big game tonight. Michigan State, Big Ten Network. That's right. The best broadcaster in women's softball is going to be at it again, at least according to Tucker Barnhart, catcher for the Cubs. He was watching Lee do a game. He's like, man, she's better than anybody because Lee will tell you exactly what the hell's going on. You know, all these other ladies on ESPN try to get into, well, you know, the philosophy. They don't know. Lee knows. She coached, so she'll tell you what's going on. Not some made-up philosophy by some hairspray on ESPN doing women's softball. There, I said it. What? That's it. They're all hairsprays. Here, put my extensions in. I'm going on with Holly. Lee's going to tell you what's real. And if you watch tonight, you're going to learn a lot about softball. You're going to learn about the strategy of softball. It's like Steve Stone doing a game. You're going to learn, not some hairspray talking, well, you know the philosophy. Shut up. Don't even get me started. Oh, I guess you did get me started. Apparently, Kid Rock unhappy, ladies and gentlemen, about Bud Light having that Dylan Mulvaney, the fake woman, who, by the way, still has a crank. Now, look, she celebrated 365 days of what? Dressing up like a woman? The day that the day that dude bleeds with a period or has a baby or gets pregnant is the day I'll believe she's a woman. He's a woman, it's a woman, whatever it calls himself. But somehow, some way, Bud Light, if you don't know the story, has decided to celebrate her. Now, I think it's a little overblown. We have sources, do we not, inside Bud Light, Lee, that say it's kind of overblown. It's not necessarily going to be Dylan Mulvaney being the spokesperson for Bud Light, but I don't care. The fact that it is even involved means I ain't buying Bud Light, but I like Mango Cart. It's a dilemma. Mango Cart's my summer beer. It's made by Budweiser, so guess what? I'm going with Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy. That's right. I stand up for causes, people. So does Kid Rock. Me and Kid Rock, baby. I saw your picture today. Let's hear from Kid Rock.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible. Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
Well, apparently Kid Rock is not happy with Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch, and I'm all for it. Look, I'm all for it. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Why should anybody be happy? Why should anybody ever, I'm putting this on Twitter because it was just too good. Why should anybody be happy with a female impersonator who's disrespecting real women being rewarded for disrespecting real women? Answer me that question. Who should be happy about that? How did this even start? Where did this even come from? Will somebody explain it to me? I'll hang up and listen. Somebody explain to me what Dylan Mulvaney is and why Dylan Mulvaney became a thing that rides on Air Force One that is, I don't know, a thing. Why? How? There's nothing that draws. Sometimes people are weird, but it draws you to them. It draws it draws you to them. They got something about them that you go, you know what? That person is odd, but I'm kind of down with it. I don't know why. I like weirdness. I like odd people. I like people that are interesting. But this Mulvaney isn't interesting. It's just a clown show. It's a freak show. It's dangerous. It's stupid. It's mental disease. But as the world we live in, let's show Kid Rock shooting it up again, can we? There's something cool about Kid Rock. You ever go to his show? He's pretty good. He's really good. He's great, actually. And something about an angry grandpa shooting an automatic weapon at beer cans that I just kind of dig. It reminds me of my mother-in-law, the great Sandy Ross. Let's have a look here.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible. Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
Look at that in the middle. 365 days of being a fake woman, of being a freak show. And that's what we're celebrating at Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. Right there. Look at that in the middle. Put some lipstick on, put some beads on, grow your hair. Not a woman. Right there in the middle, being celebrated to that level. You want to walk around like that? Who cares? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You want to walk around, you want to go on TV shows? Great. But why do we have to have, why can't you find a real woman? Why can't you find a woman like my wife? Why can't you find a woman like Sage Steele? Why can't you find a woman, I don't know. Why can't we find real women to represent products? Why do we have to go with a fraud? Why do we have to go with somebody that is so disrespectful to women? It's sickening. I'm not buying Bud Light. I'm not buying it ever again. I got into a thing where I like Bud Light Lime, Bud Light Orange, Bud Light Lemon. I really got into it a couple years ago, hanging out by our pool. I did. I liked it. Screw you, Bud Light. I'm with you. I don't have that kind of gun. We got a gun now to protect ourselves, but I got to tell you, screw you, Bud Light. Yeah, you know. All right, here's the deal. Reese Lechner is 10 years old. Reese Lechner on February 27th signed her first name, image, or likeness deal with the Performance Center, a gym in Stewardville. She was going to be coming in to us for training and then brought up the concept of NFL. It was a really interesting learning experience for both of us because it was a brand new concept. It was kind of a unique situation that allowed us to gain experience and gain something out of it. Youth athletes securing NIL deals wasn't given much thought, but a couple high school girls have. So some little 10-year-old whose mommy was a former player, basketball player, Hannah Gary Lechner. There you go. So some little 10-year-old gets an NIL deal. She plays with the Missouri Fury, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. We've seen this before. We saw this in Indiana. There was a young lady who was a great, apparently, supposedly, softball player at Carmel High School. Big articles written about her. Her dad was a complete jackass. In fact, her dad would get thrown out of numerous games. I don't know where she ended up. She supposedly signed with like Washington or somewhere to play softball, never to be heard from again. 10-year-olds don't need name, image, and likeness deals. I don't care if you do it. Doesn't matter to me. No skin off my backside, as they say. But the truth of the matter is 10-year-olds don't need name, image, and likeness deals. 10-year-olds need to pick boogers, run around, play tag, and figure it all out. How old was that girl when she started lecturing us on climate change? What was her name? Greta Thunberg. What was she, like 10? Look, forgive me for not having intellectual respect for 10-year-olds endorsing products or telling me about climate change. I was a 10-year-old. Pick boogers, not yet chasing girls, seriously. Play baseball, basketball, football, have a great time. Take your NIL deal, I guess. It's all good. A teacher in school actually did this. I want to see Lee Ross, how she would have handled this, because Lee Ross, my wife, was a stud athlete. Lee Ross was better than the boys. So you know what would happen with some of these clown teachers now, right? These clown teachers would probably have tried to tell her that she was supposed to be a boy. For sure. You just said for sure? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I could only imagine Lee Ross's mother, the great Sandy Ross, leaving a bunch of bodies in the wake at Whitmer High School or Whitmer Elementary in Toledo when some idiot teacher decides that, hey, you should be a boy, so we're going to give you a chest binder. Look at these clowns here. Look at these clowns. A teacher actually boasted about offering chest binders. We don't have the video, do we? This goof on the right.
I teach in an explicitly trans-affirming high school. We have gender support plans. We have a gender-affirming wardrobe at our school. We have binders on demand for our students, and other shapewear can easily be ordered. We have students that express themselves in all manner of different ways, and I couldn't be prouder to work at a school that's so amazing. If you would like to have your school also be an explicitly trans-affirming school, let me know. Maybe we can figure something out.
That man is a pervert. That man should never be around children. That man should, I don't know if he should be in jail, but let me tell you, if my daughter would have come home, that guy would have had a serious physical problem. He would. Because he's not as smart, he's not as woke, and he shouldn't be interfering in the lives of children, particularly about their sexuality. He just should not be. There's no reason for that guy spreading that kind of stupidity. I can only imagine, I'm trying to think, Shelley Meyer, because Gigi, Urban's daughter, was a great little athlete. I can only imagine this clown trying to secretly make her into a boy. Shelley Meyer, crazy. Sandy Ross doing that to Lee. Lee, her daughter Tegan, is a great softball player at Harvard. Can you imagine, the little Catholic school guy telling Tegan Shaw, you need a chest binder, or we need to talk about whether you're a boy or not? Lee would have gone in there and tore it up, and I'd have been right with her. These jackasses should not interfere in children's lives. They're not equipped. They don't have they're sick people. They're absolutely sick. That teacher is sick. These people are sick. It is not their business. It should not be their business. And don't hit me with the freaking attack on transgender. There is no attack on transgender if you actually pay attention to the legislation that is trying to be passed. There is no attack on transgender. There are guidelines being put in on transgender. Oh, I don't know, like idiot teachers not discussing sexual identity ever with kids that aren't their children. That's an attack, my ass. How about this? 6th grade and under, we're not talking about sex in schools. That's an attack, my backside. How about this? How about we say under 18, you've got to have 2 mental health specialists diagnose you with transgender dysphoria and parental consent. That's not an attack. That's common sense. There is no attack. These idiots are making it up so that we, sensible people, we people that understand the world, the actual world, and don't have these sicknesses inside us, back down. We ain't backing down to this crap. Pass more legislation that puts more rails on it. And don't tell me about suicide. We have seen suicide on both sides. We have seen certainly kids feeling like they're not who they are commit suicide. We've also seen it where kids went too early into transgender mode and felt uncomfortable enough to commit suicide. So stop with that crap. All it is when they say attack is to scare people like you, people like me, away from going up against what is not an attack. It's just real. You should have parental consent to change your sex, you idiots. You should have 2 doctors verify that you have dysphoria or whatever the hell made up word it is. You should. And teachers like that should be banned from ever being around children. They should have to register as sex offenders for doing what that teacher put out. Other than this idiot, who is our woke-a-dope? I love doing this show. Love it. Absolutely love it. Right. Drive a car? No. Pick your bedtime? No. Drink a beer? No. Vote? No. Cut off sex organs and take hormones? Yes. Tell me how that makes sense. I will sit here and wait. I can't wait long because I got to go to the bathroom. But I will tell you, I will sit here and wait, and you tell me how it makes sense that somebody who thinks boogers are funny can't buy smokes, can't drive, can't pick a bedtime, can't drink a beer, can't go out alone, but yet you can cut off your sex organs and take hormones to change your sex. Please explain that to me. Please explain it. You can't. You can't, because it's too stupid. But all people are trying to do that support this is scare folks like you and me. Call you transphobic, call you a hater, call you dangerous, say that you are eliciting violence against that community. No one's elicited nothing. In fact, when's the last time we saw real violence against anybody in the transgender community? We've seen violence from the transgender community. There's no question about that. We just saw it. 6 kids murdered, slaughtered, 6 people, 3 kids. Murdered, slaughtered. We've seen all that. It's a bunch of crap. All right, who's next in the world of woke-a-dope? Oh, it's unbelievable. Brandon Johnson, if you look him up, is against all forms of police. He is pro-looter. Think about somebody being pro-looter. I just want to think about that. Think about being pro-looter. Hey, look, I support looting. Really? You know my mottos, my credos. Be careful what you wish for is one of them. Sack up is another. No good deed goes unpunished, another. Those are all my life's credos, people. Well, Chicago, be careful what you wish for. We did not think it was possible. Nobody thought it was possible, but it's certainly possible. You got worse. You got somebody that is actually worse as a mayor than Lori Lightfoot. Say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how this could have happened. This should never happen. But, you know, frankly, we're so whacked out as a country, it had to happen. I don't know if this was race related. I don't know. I don't care. This is stupid related. You just hired somebody worse than Lori Lightfoot. There is nobody worse than Lori Lightfoot. There isn't. Again, I'm going to Chicago this weekend. I'm going to the Cubs game. I'm wearing Kevlar. Yeah, I am. Hell yeah. That's our show for today. What a great show. Tomorrow we got a monster. We got a senator from Missouri, Steve Schmidt. Can't wait to talk to him about all of the goings on, particularly about Donald Trump and the case against him. We got Rob Dibble going to join us, talk about baseball. Look, Dibbles and I may throw hands because I love the shot clock, the pitch clock. I love it. Now, there are some problems with it. Guys have been thrown out and all those other kind of things. But I got to tell you, I like it. I like it a lot. Speed it up. It's not that I'm trying to get anywhere. It's that you've condensed the time frame and allowed us to have more action. That I'm digging, ladies and gentlemen. That I am big time digging. And I hope you are too. All right, Dylan and Ryan, great stuff today. I threw you a bunch of curveballs and you were right there. Thanks to everybody. Dusty May, fantastic. Ryan Burr, awesome. If you want, get bets on Twitter, go to @RyanBurr. He is the best at picking winners in the Masters. He's got 11. You may say, well, you know, he's really going out on a limb. It isn't about going out on a limb when you're watching the Masters. It's about winning money when you're betting. Who cares about the limb? The limb is for morons. We don't go out on limbs. We invest when we gamble. It's what we do. Aaron, thank you so much. Gary, thank you so much. Of course, Clay, for letting me do it. As I used to say as a kid, I have to go potty. We will see you tomorrow.